If the phrase "stay sick, scratch glass, turn blue" makes you smile, chances are you're a child of the 70s in Detroit. With his trademark catchphrases, lab coat, and glasses, the Ghoul made a big impression on a whole generation. Our Lauren Podell has a special connection with a cult classic.
Elvira, Svengoolie, Sir Graves Ghastly, Count Scary, Wolfman Mac. All stars in the long tradition of late-night TV horror hosts, but none captured the imagination of Detroit viewers in the 70s and 80s like the Ghoul.
And while a lot of you have memories of watching the Ghoul back in the day on TV, I have memories of being on set with him, seeing the Ghoul in action. See, the Ghoul is a family friend, and that's what brings us here to the WCSX radio station. Because if there's anyone that knows anything about the Ghoul, it's my dad.
It was just an era of television at the time. You didn't have 1,500 channels. It wasn't so politically correct. And he was involved with the community. I mean, he had local bands on. He had local artists on. He, took your letters and read them. He posted your posters on the wall. He embraced people who embraced him. Plus, he's just a lovable guy. To know Ron Swede personally, he's a very humble, very quiet guy. The bits were great. What I loved about it, kind of being in the business, is that there was no teleprompter. There was no script. This was total chaos on TV.
My dad, Doug Podell, first met the Ghoul, also known as Ron Swede, in Cleveland, where Swede is from. In the 60s, Ghoulardi ruled Cleveland airwaves. As a teenager, Swede worked on his show. When Ernie Anderson, who played Ghoulardi, left to become the voice of the ABC network, it gave Swede an idea.
So I asked him, would you give me permission to revive the character in Cleveland? He said it won't work, but go ahead, give it a shot.
You're watching this show, you've gotta be an illiterate moron. But you're my kind of guy.
Swede kept the same Ghoulardi look, but took a new name. And the Ghoul show was such a hit, it was syndicated in 7 of the biggest cities across the country, including Detroit.
Right from the start, day one, it eclipsed the popularity in Cleveland. Detroit just went nuts over the show.
There is Ghoul fever in this town. They like you here.
Well, Detroit has always been good to their king and their leader, Howard.
What can you say? They've been my best fans ever since. I mean, I'm from Cleveland, and the show originated in Cleveland, but Detroit's been, like the sixth psychotic capital of Ghoul Power Land.
Except for the occasional special, the show's been off the air for 30 years, but hundreds still line up to meet the Ghoul at appearances around town.
How are you? Awesome. Boy, you're a good-looking guy, I gotta tell you. It's mind-blowing. It's, you saw how the crowd was today. It's, they have long memories, and they remember it. And, I watched you when I was a kid. Well, thanks a lot for making me feel old, but, and they get their kids to watch YouTube. It's on YouTube. I don't know how the segments got on there, but YouTube's full of the Ghoul. And so, like, little 12-year-old guy had me sign his shirt that he bought today, and he's going out as the Ghoul for Halloween.
There wasn't a lot to do as a kid on a Saturday night, and you had the Ghoul, and of course you weren't supposed to watch him, which made him really appealing. We would have to sneak off to the basement because my dad wouldn't let us watch it.
Fans remember the celebrity guests like Vincent Price and Muhammad Ali.
Because he was just such a gentle, nice, quiet guy. And I said, I know I should know better because I'm in the business. But you were just so laid back and quiet, you'd never know it. And all of a sudden he jumped up. I said, Ghoul. Then he turned into Muhammad Ali. You listen to me now, Ghoul. Are you listening? Yes, sir, I'm listening to you. You never let the fans figure out who you are or what you are. You always keep them guessing, because once they figure you out, they'll go somewhere else, Ghoul. You understand, Ghoul? Yes, sir.
They also remember all of the explosions and the Ghoul's amphibian arch nemesis.
What I remember most is Froggy and the bits where he would blow up you know, Froggy or blow up a pumpkin or, you know, that was the best. I mean, you waited all night for him to blow up something.
I walked through a Toys R Us one time, and they had a whole wall of those rubber frogs, which goes back to the 50s. A show called The Buster Brown Show, and Froggy was on it, and hiya gang, hiya, hiya, hiya. And I figured, well, okay, I'll buy a Froggy. It'll do a one-time bit. I'll beat him to death with a baseball bat or whatever, and that'll be it. So we did Froggy, and the doggone rubber frog got more mail than I did the following week. So I bought out Toys R Us, the whole wall, because we'd put them in blenders, cut them up with power mowers, put them on fans, go flying off the blades. Anyway, you figure you can destroy a rubber frog, I did. We weren't uptight about scripting. I would never do dialogue or anything. I'd have our musical cues to come into it and then a particular musical cue to get us out. But what happened in between, I would just verbally tell everyone how we wanted to do it. And always would try to do it on a first take. Rarely would, no matter what happened, you know, a flat could fall on a guy and kill him. And, you know, we'd drag him off the set later and notify his next of kin. It was like a family. They'd do anything for me, I'd do anything for them. And we just, again, had a blast doing it.
My dad is still good friends with the Ghoul. He even made an appearance on the Doc of Rock's weekly Comcast show, Rock 900.
Hold out your hand. And here's some cheeseware! They don't get better than the Ghoul's Vault of Golden Garbage! When I first started in the 70s, church groups were warning the parishioners not to let your kids watch the Ghoul, and he's gonna let them down the road of moral decay. And then towards the end of the 70s, I think I was often some lady who had been signing autographs for her in the family. She came, I just had to come back from the car. I just wanted to thank you for doing a show where the whole family can watch. And so I went full circle from the most feared man on television to the family entertainment guy.
Today's army of Ghoul fans still have marching orders from their king and leader.
All right, Detroit fans, my 10-star generals in the Ghoul Power Army. I would like you to remember that I love you, and I want you to stay sick, turn blue, scratch glass, climb walls, and most importantly of all, do it while you can, but don't get caught. Hey!
He is over the top, and you can see more from our time with the Ghoul on the first block page of clickondetroit.com. How the Ghoul met the Beatles, plus never-before-told stories even the biggest Ghoul fans haven't heard.